This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's 9:31, Wednesday, July 12th. Welcome to the meeting of the K-Tempo TAC. I will call this meeting to order and then move to agenda item 2, which is the opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make a comment to the TAC? Anybody online? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 3, which is a staff update. All right, as you'll see in your packet and on your screen, we have the upcoming board meetings for the Policy Board, TAC, and Freight Advisory Committee. All those meetings are scheduled to meet here, 9:30 a.m. in this room, except for the Freight Advisory Committee, which will meet at 2:30 p.m. Other updates, we have the UPWP, which is our internal budget planning document. You will see that actually later in your packet. As a discussion and action item, the Bell County Thoroughfare Plan that staff were working on will be sent to the Commissioners Court. It's going to be on the agenda for the 17th for adoption and approval. The Texas VEMP grant of $87 million, that's the Volkswagen settlement dollars. Bell County was in that settlement area?
Yeah, Bell County is a priority area, so we'll send out some more information, but the money is mostly focused on providing funds to repower or replace vehicles with electric models, specifically transit buses, school buses, some airport equipment. Those were the ones we noticed that might seem helpful for our region.
In other updates, we have a presentation from the North Central Texas Council of Governments and Transpod. This is part of the high-speed rail study that some of you may have been around for a couple years ago. Transpod reached out to North Central Texas Council of Governments, asked if there were any other MPOs that may be interested on the I-35 corridor of participating in conversations with them. So we have them slated to present at the August Policy Board meeting. So if you're interested, of course, you're welcome to attend in line, but we also have the virtual option if you're interested in listening to that participation or presentation from Transpod. In other news, I'll be attending the State Association meeting tomorrow and Friday in El Paso, and then next week following the Policy Board meeting, staff will be in Austin for TIP and STIP training, and other staff that are not going to that will be participating in an artificial intelligence chat GPT type course to see what that looks like for planning agencies. The last thing I have for the general staff update before I get to the air quality is not really transportation related, but I want to make everybody aware. Broadband, a lot of funding has been kicked to the state of Texas. They got $3.3 billion for one program and $130 million for another program. The Broadband Development Office has stood up regional working groups. Central Texas will be having a regional public meeting here at the COG offices July 28th from 3 to 5 p.m. for anybody that's interested in attending. You may see some communication about this come out from Anna Barge. She's going to handle our sending out of the information and our public involvement for this, or in Anita. But I wanted to make everybody aware that that meeting is happening. The public meeting is for the state to gain input on how best to use those dollars as they draft their plan to submit to the federal government before they can actually fund anything that they've been awarded. Air quality readings were 67 and 60 parts per billion. And with that, I will open to any questions. Any questions? All right. Moving right along. Agenda item 4 is an action item regarding approval of the minutes from the June 7th, 2023 meeting. Those minutes are in your packet and were sent out. Are there any revisions or modifications needed to the minutes? If there aren't any, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Who did the second? Jason, second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. All right, agenda item 5 is a discussion item regarding the 2050 MTP update timeline. This is in your packet. It's pages 16 through 21. James?
Thanks, Ryan. We brought the little timeline back to everyone's attention in April, and I just wanted to spend a couple of months. We're moving closer to the actual, hopefully, opening of the call for projects. Just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. Nothing has changed with the actual timeline. Staff's still working on some preparation for the call. There is in your packet a draft slightly revised application form for review. If you have any comments on that, I'm just trying to make it a little bit more clear this year on kind of how it's laid out for submission when we open the call for projects. The final version will be sent out as a fillable form, so you won't have to worry about messing with a Word document or anything like that, like last time. That was the main thing that we wanted to just share with everybody, and if there was feedback, get some of that. I think the only other thing I'll say is, I guess I'm jumping ahead here, but the project scoring group has met once and is going to be meeting again right after this meeting, looking at some potential tweaks to the subjective scoring part of it. But once those next month, we'll plan to bring any recommendations to the TAC and Policy Board for consideration of approval.
And as you'll see on the timeline, the call for projects is currently scheduled to run from September 1st through October 13th. So if you have projects you're thinking about, if you'd like staff input, or if you'd like to talk to the staff and TxDOT about the viability of those projects, please feel free to reach out and we can coordinate those conversations. Any questions on the MTP? Update timeline? Okay. Nothing online, Hope? All right. The next item is agenda item 6. It's a discussion and action item regarding approval of amendments to the FY23 to 26 Transportation Improvement Program, or the TIP, and the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the MTP, for projects B45-03, D45-01, K30-13A, S45-01, T40-13A, W35-01, W35-07, and A45-03. James.
Thanks, Ryan. I think everyone's seen these when we shared them last month, so I'll just run through them really quickly. Got the 13th Ave Sidewalk project, which this one's to transfer some money from local funding to Category 9 funding. There partly was a mistake previously made in inputting these numbers, and so we're trying to match this with what TxDOT has in their system, and it helps the city belt out a little bit. Troy's West Main Street and Luther Curtis Road. There were some concerns with the SRSA funding and the debt ceiling that we shared last time. So we're, again, making some corrections to this one to move local dollars to state dollars, which is what TxDOT has moved the SRSA funding to, a 20% state match category. Chaparral Road, we're moving the let date back to FY26. The Royal Street improvements, Village of Salado requested an increase of Cat 7 funding by 1.1 million and moving the let date to 2024. The Georgetown Railroad, we're consolidating the funding categories and moving everything to carbon reduction. And then some TxDOT projects in the new UTP, there's additional funds added to them to account for inflation. So the bypass project, Cap 2 dollars are increasing by about 26.5 million. And we have a new project for the Loop 363 overpass and a new project for the Hill Country micro transit technology project. So a summary, the Cap 2 and carbon reduction we're increasing both of those, and the Cap 7 is decreasing a little bit, but I think like we discussed back in April when we talked about the carbon reduction, there are some more Cat 7 projects that were approved, and we'll be adding those in. They're just in the later years of the next. They'll be in the later years of the next step right now. Here's the schedule. We did have a public hearing on June 27th, and no comments were received during that or the public comment period, which ended on July 10th, which was Monday. So the action before the TAC is to consider recommending approval of these amendments. So you want to mention about the deadline?
So at the last meeting, following the last meeting, we got notified that there may be an accelerated timeline for getting these amendments in with all of the backup documentation. So at the policy board, I discussed possibly just if the TAC recommended approval to the policy board instead of calling a special policy board meeting, just approving the amendments and having the policy board ratify that action. It looks like we actually may need to do that based on the new information we got from TxDOT, but I'll discuss that with the policy board chair, Judge Miller, and see if that's the route he'd like to take or if he'd like us to call a special meeting. But all of this stuff needs to be submitted and locked by the 18th. Yeah. So one day prior to policy board meeting. But like James said, the action before you all today is to recommend approval of the amendments. We've seen these amendments, they've come through multiple times. So with that, we're open to any questions on the amendments, conversation. If there aren't any, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
In a second, any further discussion, comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. All right, agenda item 7 is a discussion and action item regarding the draft 24-25 Unified Planning Work Program. Now I have to find it. Well, while I'm trying to find it, this is our internal budget document that K-Tempo is required to submit to the state, who's required to submit it to federal highways for ultimate approval. What was sent to you, and we have a couple printed out, are our draft UPWPs. We are using, for these drafts, we are using budget estimates. We don't have any hard dollars from TxDOT. So when we submit our UPWP, we have to estimate what we believe the federal government is going to allocate us as the MPOs, and what we estimate that funding formula looks like as it comes through the state. That's typically the way we've done it in the past, and there haven't been any issues. But we bring this to you today. This actually needs to be approved by the August policy board meeting. We brought it to you today for discussion, possible action if you wanted to recommend approval, even knowing that some of the dollar amounts may change, but the material information inside, I don't anticipate changing from the time you see it, unless we get the review back from TxDOT saying we need to make some changes in our actual narratives. With that, I'm open to any questions on the UPWP, the process, the funding, or any of that anyone may have. Like I said, we can take action or we can not, and we can wait until August and move forward at that point. Questions? Conversation? I'll entertain a motion if anyone has one.
I didn't see anything that necessitates slowing it down, so I'll make a motion to recommend approval.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comments, questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, agenda item 8 is a discussion item regarding updates on the bylaws, the safety and project scoring work groups. Okay, so we stood up 3 work groups: bylaws, safety, and project scoring work groups. The bylaws and project scoring work groups have met. For the bylaws, we had some discussion on some possible recommendations and revisions. Those have been made to the draft bylaws and sent out to the members of that working group, along with additional documentation that they wanted. We will possibly meet following policy board, but that is up in the air. I will let James speak to the project scoring work group discussion that was had.
I jumped the gun earlier, I guess. I said it, but there was some, the main consensus of the group was that the system worked pretty well last time, and so no major changes were needed. And I think the one thing staff is taking a look at is seeing if there's ways to reduce the burden on tax scoring for the subjective part of it. There's some measures that weren't maybe are excessive, since it can be a lot of work to look at all those projects, look through all the criteria and score them. So that's kind of what we're looking at. There was also a suggestion from Victor to potentially look at separating the roadway track into the projects that are eligible for Category 2 funding, the projects that are not eligible for Category 2 funding, since those typically differ in size. The Category 2 projects are your major roadways like interstates and larger FMs, some of the larger projects, and you can compare them, but there's some differences between those versus like a Chaparral, which is a larger local street, but still a local street compared to divided highway. So I think that would be a pretty easy change, but we'll be talking about all of those things in the work group meeting right after this TAC meeting.
Just to clarify, the ones that would be eligible for that separate Cat 2 ranking, those are all going to be text-out roadways anyways. A local road like Chaparral, you can try it without removing the found out, it's not eligible.
Yes.
So those are all going to be text-out roads anyways, so they're going to be in those projects.
Yeah, that's correct. There may be a few exceptions to that, but I think for the 99%, those are all text-out projects anyways.
Occasionally we'll have other, like this, the 95 was a city-led project that.
Right.
Too, so there could be a city-sponsored project.
That's I was thinking that one, and then Victor and I had a conversation about East Outer Loop, or East Loop 363, that we see a need for something to be done. When I reached out, he was already looking at the same thing. Right. So certainly the cities could weigh in and like you said, we could pay for some of the design, but ultimately it's going to be a text-out project.
Did you have any updates on the safety?
No, we're planning to hopefully start that, have a meeting in August, maybe after the TAC meeting, to start the safety work group. That's all I had.
Any questions? Discussion on work groups? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 9, which is a discussion item regarding an update on the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. As many, if not all of you are aware, we were awarded funding under the Safe Streets and Roads for All program February 1st. Staff have sent out an RFP, and we've gone through the process of actually, we sent the RFP out. We just received the RFPs back. We did receive 3 RFPs. Staff will be reviewing and scoring those. That information will then go to the SITCOG executive committee officers with the K-Tempo officers, who will make the ultimate decision on which consultant is selected for the planning activities for the comprehensive safety action plan for our 7-county region. We still don't have a signed grant agreement with Federal Highways, but I did receive word today that it is in the grants office in DC, and we should hear something back by tomorrow. So with that, I will open to any questions on the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program. We can't really do any work on it until we have a signed grant agreement. So.
Not to put you on the spot, but do you have the names of the respondents?
I do.
Yeah, Kimley Horn,
Foresight Group,
Foresight Group, and
TJKM.
Yeah, TJKM.
TJC.
Yes. Any questions, further questions, discussion? All right. Seeing none, we will move to agenda item 10, which is a discussion item regarding an update on the possible MPO boundary expansion, page 50. I have no new information for you at this time. And we'll keep this on the agenda just so that when I do receive information, I can provide an update. Any questions on that? Seeing none, we will move to agenda item 11, which is a discussion item regarding public input received through June 2023. James.
There are a couple comments. One was, someone was concerned about narrow bike lanes on the 57th in front of McKeska's Barbecue and Temple, which we shared with Jason, and I think determined that was just a lane line that is not a bike lane. And then there was a public meeting a couple weeks ago out in Coppers Cove with the Brownwood District for a project that would piggyback on the end of the bypass project and extend Interstate 14 a little bit into Lampasas County. And we had some individuals trying to get there and understand what was being proposed. But that project, I think it'll be a good project for the region. The district's working on. Nothing significant other than those 2.
Questions on the public comment? All right, seeing none, we will move to agenda item 12, which is member comments. Any members have any comments? Anybody online have comments?
Not that I've gone.
Seeing none, we will move to agenda item 13, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Can you start the board? Thank you.
That's what I'm not-